a desert where temperatures reach 113 degrees. Water too salty to grow crops. Land considered almost worthless for farming. And yet, hidden beneath that desert, Israel built an agricultural system so unusual that researchers from around the world now study it as a possible model for the future of food production. The strange part is that it was never supposed to work. The water was unusable, the environment was hostile, and every expert looking at the project saw the same outcome: failure. Instead, it became one of the most successful desert farming experiments ever attempted. This is the secret desert experiment that changed food production forever. For thousands of years, the Negev Desert was viewed as a place of limits. Covering roughly 60% of Israel's landmass, the region is defined by extreme heat, rocky terrain, and a severe lack of rainfall. In many areas, rain falls only a handful of times each year. To ancient civilizations, the Negev represented a simple reality. You could not build large-scale agriculture where water did not exist. And for centuries, that assumption appeared completely correct. Farmers settled elsewhere. Cities developed elsewhere. Investment flowed elsewhere. The desert remained what it had always been: a harsh landscape that seemed to offer very little in return. But hidden thousands of feet below the surface was something nobody expected, and discovering it would begin one of the strangest agricultural experiments in modern history. In 1973, geologists drilling deep beneath the Negev made an unexpected discovery. Instead of dry rock, they struck water. Not a small underground pocket, not a temporary source, an enormous reserve. The drill penetrated more than 2,300 feet before reaching an ancient aquifer buried beneath layers of sandstone. When the water was reached, it surged upward under natural pressure. There was only one problem. The discovery seemed almost useless. The water was extremely warm. Temperatures remained close to 100 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Even worse, the water contained significant levels of dissolved salts and minerals. For traditional farming, that combination was a disaster. The heat-stressed plants, the salinity-damaged crops. Initial agricultural tests produced exactly the results experts expected. Plants struggled, growth slowed, many crops died. From a farming perspective, the water appeared worthless. Most countries would have stopped there. But a small group of researchers began asking a completely different question. What if the water was not the problem? What if they were simply trying to use it the wrong way? This question changed everything. Instead of asking how to make the water suitable for crops, researchers started asking what organisms naturally thrive in warm, slightly salty environments. The answer led them away from agriculture and toward aquaculture. Fish. Specifically, species that evolved in tropical and brackish waters. Among the most promising was barramundi, a fish naturally adapted to fluctuating salinity levels and warm temperatures. Suddenly, what looked like unusable water began to look almost perfect. The warmth that killed crops created ideal conditions for tropical fish. The mineral content that damaged plants barely affected certain aquatic species. A problem had become an advantage. And that realization marked the true beginning of Israel's secret desert experiment. Researchers built ponds and introduced fish into the system. Many expected complications. Instead, the fish adapted quickly. Barramundi thrived. Tilapia performed exceptionally well. European sea bass also proved highly resilient. Something remarkable was happening. The desert's greatest disadvantage had become its greatest strength. In most countries, tropical fish farming requires expensive heating systems operating year-round. Those costs can be enormous. But beneath the Negev, nature provided the heat for free. The underground water arrived at nearly the perfect temperature already. The earth itself was powering the operation. For the first time, large-scale fish farming in the desert looked economically viable. But success created a new problem, and this one threatened to destroy the entire experiment. Fish farms produce waste, lots of it. As fish consume food, they release ammonia into the water. As production increases, ammonia levels rise. Left unchecked, the water eventually becomes toxic. The more successful the farms became, the greater the danger. Traditional operations solve this problem using costly filtration systems or by constantly replacing water. Neither option made sense in the Negev. Water was too valuable, and expensive filtration would reduce profitability. The experiment had reached a crossroads. Researchers needed a solution. What they found changed everything. Because somebody realized that fish waste was not actually waste at all. It was fertilizer. The same ammonia threatening the fish contained one of the most valuable nutrients in agriculture: nitrogen, a nutrient essential for plant growth. Instead of treating the water as contaminated, engineers began directing it toward nearby agricultural fields. The results were astonishing. Olive trees flourished. Date palms thrived. Crop yields increased. The nutrient-rich water delivered irrigation and fertilizer simultaneously. What began as a fish farming problem became an agricultural advantage. Suddenly, two industries were supporting each other. The fish enriched the water. The crops cleaned it. Each solved the other's biggest challenge. The system began operating as a self-reinforcing loop, and the longer researchers studied it, the more impressive the results became. Traditional agriculture often relies on synthetic fertilizers. These products require enormous amounts of energy to manufacture. They are expensive, and much of their nutrient content never reaches the plants. The Negev system worked differently. Fish waste entered the soil gradually. Nutrients were released steadily. Plants absorbed them more efficiently. There was less waste, less pollution, and lower operating costs. Even the salt content turned out to be less problematic than expected. Certain desert-adapted crops tolerated the conditions surprisingly well. Some researchers even found that mild stress improved flavor quality in certain products. What started as a compromise became a competitive advantage. And by this point, the experiment was attracting attention far beyond Israel. As freshwater supplies become increasingly strained across the globe, countries have been forced to confront a difficult reality. Many traditional farming methods depend on resources that are becoming harder to obtain. The Negev offered a different approach. Instead of fighting environmental limitations, the system embraced them. It used water others considered unusable. It operated in terrain others considered unproductive. And it generated multiple food sources from the same resource stream. Researchers from around the world began studying the model. Similar concepts appeared in other arid regions. Governments started exploring whether the same principles could be applied elsewhere. The idea was simple. Stop forcing nature to fit your plans. Build your plans around nature instead. The most important lesson from the Negev experiment has very little to do with fish, or olive trees, or even deserts. It is about how humans solve problems. For decades, experts looked at the Negev and saw obstacles: heat, salt, scarcity. Researchers eventually looked at those same conditions and saw opportunities. The heat became free energy. The salt became a filter that eliminated unsuitable crops. Fish waste became fertilizer. Every weakness became part of the solution. And that may be the most valuable discovery of all. Because as climate change expands, arid regions and water shortages become more common. More parts of the world may soon face the same challenges the Negev faced decades ago. The question is whether those places are actually running out of options, or whether they simply have not asked the right question yet. 1 million fish are swimming beneath one of the driest regions on Earth today. Not because somebody conquered the desert, but because somebody finally understood it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more history mysteries and hidden discoveries.